Welcome back to this episode on emotional health. In the previous episode, we had seen that it is our unrealistic belief which is responsible for our getting disturbed whenever we are confronted by external stressors. Once we have removed this unrealistic belief, then we will be in a state of emotional equilibrium, emotional equipoise, despite outward provocation. And once we are in this emotionally stable state, our responses are going to be appropriate. And to give this appropriate response, we may need to control our nature. Most of the time, what happens? We do what we like and we avoid doing what we dislike. In self control, we have to keep aside our personal likes and dislikes and do what is the need of the situation. You can compare this self control to horse riding. Say, when a person does horse riding, what does he do with the reins of the horse? Does he hold the reins or he leaves them free?
Holds them.
Holds them. Between the two, which is easy, which is difficult? To hold is easy or to leave is easy?
Leave it.
What is appropriate?
Holding
Holding.
us.
So, though difficult, it is necessary to hold the reins. What will happen if the rider does not hold the reins?
Go out of control.
Yes, and
Will enjoy
You can
himself.
fall.
you can fall off, you can hurt yourself. And while falling off, if your leg is caught up in the stirrup,
Yeah.
then the horse will drag the rider. In the same manner, our nature is like the horse. Not easy to control. Very difficult, but very necessary. Because unless we control our nature, the nature controls us. We are dragged by our natural tendencies. We become a slave of our nature. And what we need to be is the master of our nature and not its slave. So self-control means keeping aside our personal likes and dislikes and behaving as per the need of the hour. This self-control can be of two types. One is suppression, which is superficial, temporary and harmful. The other is sublimation, which is deeper, permanent and beneficial. What is the difference between the two? Let me explain that. Say I have an instrument in my hand. This is the inner part and this is the outer part. If I change the alignment of only the outer part, there is going to be inner tension. And as soon as I release my hold, it will revert to its original position. But if I have changed the alignment of the inner part, the outer one will come automatically in alignment with it, without the tension and permanently so. In the same manner, we have these two components. The outer is our behavior, the inner one is our understanding. If we only change the behavior without changing the understanding, then that is suppression. Like say, there is a student who is not studying. Instead of studying, he is playing with his friends or watching TV or chit-chatting with the friends on the phone. So the parents scold the child. And because of the scolding, the child changes his behavior. He gives up the TV and sits down to study. To study means he is sitting with the books around him. What do you think is happening in the mind?
Still
Thinking about
engaged, yeah.
Playing with friends.
Yes. And though he is reading, do you think anything enters?
No.
No.
And maybe he is giving a few galis to his present in his mind.
Negative.
Yeah. And as soon as the parents leave the scene,
He's
back to square one. So, in the case of the student also, if he only changes the behavior, then that is suppression. So, what is sublimation? If the same student changes his understanding, he tells himself that, well, I don't like to study, I like to play a lot, but it is very necessary for me to study. Now that the understanding has changed, the behavior will automatically change. He will sit down to study himself without the parents having got to scold him. Mind you, he doesn't like it. He's forcing himself to do it. But this time, there is no emotional turmoil. He can jolly well concentrate on whatever he's studying, and whether the parents are there or not, the study continues. So, sublimation is controlling the behavior after changing your unrealistic beliefs. If the control is exercised before changing the unrealistic beliefs, that is suppression, and that can be dangerous. How dangerous? Let's explain with another analogy. Take the case of the pressure cooker. When there is enough steam in the pressure cooker, how do we know?
By
The whistle. That whistling sound is very irritating, so we don't allow the steam to come out. Then what will happen?
burst.
Burst. In the same manner, when there is enough steam here, we let it off. Get it off our chest, feel very relieved. But then, that's going to lead to conflicts. We don't want those conflicts, so we don't express, we suppress. Then what happens? Then it leads to psychogenic ailments, the psychosomatic diseases. Now, what do you want? You want conflicts or illness?
Nothing.
No.
If you don't want either, what do you need to do?
Switch off
What do we do in the case of the pressure cooker?
Switch off the burner.
Switch
Switch off the burner.
The heat.
Effectively, what are we doing?
Steam.
We are
Reducing the-
not allowing the steam to be formed. Then the question of releasing it or suppressing it does not arise. So similarly, which is the burner within us which we should put off?
The reaction.
The reaction is the steam.
Our expectations are
Expectations.
our understanding
Our
of the reality.
unrealistic expectations is the burner. We switch off that burner, then the steam of emotional reaction is not going to occur. Then there is no question of letting it out, inviting conflicts, or suppressing in and inviting diseases.
What is the difference between suppression of nature and suppression of emotional disturbances?
True.
So, are they same or are they different?
See, the suppression of emotional disturbances means that you don't express them out for whatever reason. You bottle up, and that bottling itself is going to cause internal changes leading to disease. So, suppression of emotion means damaging the inner components of your body. Suppression of nature is you're controlling the nature but without removing these emotional disturbances, because you have not yet corrected the unrealistic expectations. So, the suppression of the nature without removing the unrealistic belief is again going to produce the same bad effect. So, controlling the nature is either by suppression or sublimation. Once you remove the unrealistic belief, then what is going to happen? The emotions are not going to generate. Thereafter, you control your natural tendencies, so that would be sublimation. So, in a way, the two are related. So, up to now, we have seen two things. One, as far as the beliefs are concerned, change from unrealistic to realistic beliefs. And thereafter, as far as the nature is concerned, control the nature so that you can give appropriate responses to the situation.
Understanding the nature of reality, like
So
so that automatically changes your behavior.
later on.
Later.
So once you accept that reality, then what happens? Your earlier pattern of behavior changes. But it takes time to change from the old pattern to the new pattern.
Okay.
So ultimately it will result in this. But it will take some time.
That's how you control your psychosomatic this thing. It's like BP and all.
Huh?
Like when you realize like, what is causing it,
Huh?
and then
So now you don't contribute to it.
Understanding the futility of it.
True.
Means you give less importance to it and then
Yeah. Mind you, any disturbance comes because we have inappropriate importance to it.
Inappropriate.
Either we are giving over importance or under importance. When you give it the appropriate importance, then you know how to utilize it appropriately. Till then, we feel threatened by it or we feel attracted to it, and that only produces more emotional turmoil, harming ourselves. One of the commonest unrealistic belief is that everybody has the same type of nature and one can do what one pleases to do. It all requires only more effort. The fact is that there are wide varieties of natures at all levels of our existence. So in the next episode, we are going to deal with the varieties of natures.